Greetings and welcome, my friends. This is Jeepers Creepers, the Mono Blue Synthesizer deck featuring many ways of making synthesizer copies. We have some of the usual tricks, but we've brought in a set of men that we have never used before that can become copies of our synthesizer. 20 potential synthesizers, not including a couple of other ways of making copies, will surely get us an army worthy of Mordor. 3 Steps Ahead is an amazing card for any synthesizer deck. It has spree, so we can choose more than one option if we have the mana for it. The option we look to use most is the create a token copy of any artifact or creature we control. This lets us make a token copy of a synthesizer at instant speed. The other options include countering a spell, which can always be useful, and drawing 2 cards, then discarding 1. This card selection could help us find a synthesizer if we haven't found one yet. Mockingbird is one of those men we'll use to make a copy of one of our walking synthesizers. What exactly is the plan? We'll copy a synthesizer with Hulking Metamorph, then copy the Metamorph with the Mockingbird, and suddenly we'll have 2 walking synthesizers. And in a pinch, the Mockingbird can become a copy of one of our Robot Overlords with the added bonus that it will have flying. Impulse is a fantastic card that can help us in finding a synthesizer. We get a look at the top 4, pick one to keep, and the rest go to the bottom of the deck. And at 2 mana, it's easy to keep up a pair of lands to be able to fire it off. And not only can it find us a synthesizer, it's great at finding a land as well, if we get stuck on 2. Negate is our counter of choice. It'll stop cards that destroy our artifacts as long as those aren't creatures. And we can stop sweepers. In control matchups, we can stop removals or opposing counterspells. Silent Hallcreeper is a fantastic doppelganger that has the ability to become a copy of any one of our men. I'm sure I don't have to mention that we'll be using the copy ability to copy a walking synthesizer. The Creeper is unblockable, so we'll be able to get in for hits turn after turn, and it can draw us a card as one of its 3 triggered abilities. And if we don't have a walking synthesizer, we can copy another Creeper to reset its 3 abilities and keep drawing cards to help find a synthesizer. The synthesizer is our key card. It's the factory that we hope will pump out the Robot Overlords in numbers that will overwhelm the opponent. Worldwalker Helm is a map token spitting machine that goes perfectly with synthesizer. We have ways of making a token copy of a synthesizer, and once we do, we can use the helm to make more token copies of our factory. It's a recipe that spells the end for the opponent. GG's, bro. Extra cheese. Aetherize is a defensive card that we can fire off to send attackers back to their owner's hand. It's a great way to not only avoid damage, but reduce the opponent's board. Plus, if the opponent is leaning on Vigilance men to get in for hits, and then also be able to block, we can send it packing when they send it. Extravagant Replication is another way we have to make more synthesizer copies. Although we can use it to make copies of any non-land permanent, the synthesizer is often the best target. This is a rather pricey enchantment, which is why we only have 2. Hulking Metamorph is how we make a walking synthesizer. When we play it out, we'll select the synthesizer to copy, and it'll be a 3/3 Robot Overlord factory. Then we can use the Creeper to copy it, and it too will turn into a synthesizer, though we won't get the Enters Play trigger. Copying the Metamorph with a Mockingbird will get us the Enters Play triggers, and we'll have a flying synthesizer on our side. For lands, we're playing all basics, 24 islands. It is possible that brining in a pair of Mirex could help out. Mostly, we want to be doing what we can to make synthesizer copies over spending mana to make 1/1 token men. Playing the deck is rather straightforward. We look to find a synthesizer and get it in play. With a synthesizer down, we aim to make copies of it to build up an army of Robot Overlords. The key is to use card draw early and dig out a synthesizer. We have so many ways to make copies that once we have one down, we should be able to trigger it and start firing up the production lines. All but the Negate and Aetherize are ways of copying a synthesizer, so use any option available to increase the number of synthesizers on board. Generating Robot Overlords is our path to victory, and most of our deck is dedicated to doing so. Get in for hits whenever possible, as our Robot Overlords will usually be the biggest men on the table. Damages, bro? Damages. That's the deck, boys. Let's go play some games. This is Boingo Boingo in 60 seconds. Put away the corn, bro. This is a family show. We kick things off with a 4-lander. What saves us here is the double impulse we can use to find some business spells. Keep your pants on. We draw a synthesizer right away, so we'll be able to synthesize on schedule, and we can use an impulse to get us something to copy the synthesizer. It's a slow start for Mono Black, probably a control-ish build. Lucky for us, we know they can't deal with artifacts. They can snipe men all day long, but will have more Robot Overlords than they have removals. No plays for them on their third turn. Let's impulse. Nothing amazing. We'll take the Creeper as that gives us a chance to draw a card at some point. Against Black, it'll be a miracle if he stays on board, but we have synthesizer plays to make before then. On top, we have a pair of lands that we don't need. We already have another 2 in hand. They play out a slasher, the unstoppable kind, but we have Robot Overlords to crank out of the factory. We'll be able to block if they send it in. Did they just check their hand to see if they have removal? They play out a Bloodletter, and they've got themselves the combo on board. All they need is a removal, and they can snipe their way to victory. But do they have something that lets them hit artifact men? That is the question, my friends. We can counter and draw, or we can copy our synthesizer. Let's test them first. We'll send in our Robot Overlord and see if they want a block. They do not give a block. Apparently 4 damage is nothing to be concerned about. Let's give them something they should worry about. We'll make a surprise synthesizer during our attack step. You're right, bro. 4 damages is barely anything, so how about we double up on our synthesizers and add a couple more map tokens? That's 8 big ones now. Damages, bro. Damages. This train is taking the opponent straight to Pound Town. The opponent kinda wishes he had blocked. It's too late now. This knuckle sandwich is being served up fresh. When in doubt, block up first, take beatings later. I suggest sending in the Bloodletter. It's the only one that's getting through. Or you could send both on in, that's fine, bro. No, wait, it's only the Bloodletter. No, wait, that was all for show. I don't think anything is coming in. Let's play our land and go straight to the part where we dish out beatings. So you're saying they had a removal and didn't use it? Oopsie poopsie, bro. We're still going in. There's a pair of synthesizers waiting to be made at instant speed if they choose to let our Robot Overlord walk right by their men. And sure enough, they choose to once again not give a block. Let's fire off our instant synthesizer and crank out another factory with our Helm as well. That pause is them thinking, maybe I should have blocked. Don't you hate it when you don't block one Robot Overlord and then a whole squad pops up out of nowhere? GG's, bro. Extra cheese. This is Harley Quinn. She's ready to raise some pink hell. We get a shuffler special for this one, with an excellent mix of cards. The Creeper can try to get us an extra draw if we're stuck on 2, and we can copy the Creeper if we stay stuck. Keep your hopes up. We draw a 3rd land right away, so we'll be able to drop our Synthesizer on schedule. We'll still play out the Creeper as he can get us a draw, and hopefully a 4th land for the 3 steps ahead. We end up getting a 4th land, which is completely fine. Now the draw is all gravy. Let's send in the Creeper. On top we have a Metamorph and another Aetherize, but we have one in hand already. Let's ship it, but we'll want the Metamorph. They throw down a growing Dread, but there's no Dread to be had here. It can't grow because it doesn't exist. Poor Harley. The manifesting of Dread probably took all her lands and she got stuck with the starting 2. Oopsie poopsie bro. This is Jay, son of Ara. He likes wearing Daisy Dukes with half a cheek hanging out. Get some pants on, bro. We get another shuffler special with an impulse to find us that critical 3rd land. From there, the Synthesizer should find us our 4th land. Keep your pants on. We drew a 2nd impulse, so we should be able to dig up a 3rd land at the very least on our next turn. Enemy men are the bane of our existence, but when they're small, they're road bumps. Let's fire off our impulse at the end of their turn. It hardly matters what we've got as long as there's a land. We'll take an island. On top we have a Negate and a Mockingbird. We already have a bird and nothing to copy yet, so we'll send our beaked friend on down. We'll keep the Negate in case they brought something funny. I mean, they do smell kind of funny, right? The old Essence Channeler is their play. We should have seen that coming. We'll pass the turn. We have plenty of things we can do at instant speed that there's no need to tie our hands by acting on our turn. They go for a Hive, and we can certainly counter it and even impulse, but I think we can try going for a Synthesizer copy. The Robot Overlords will have a part to play in this game before it ends. They send in their men, and that's when we copy up. Surprise Synthesizer coming in, and we'll get our first Robot Overlord. On top, we have a pair of lands, which we'll ship. We've got 4 mana, and that's enough for all our cards, but the pair of replications, which are 6 mana. Out of these 2, I think we can block up the life gain guy. It's a trade that is better when it happens early versus later. We draw a 5th land anyways, despite our efforts to avoid land draws. We'll hold up what we got and try to catch them in an error. They come in for damages, but we can send their men back to hand. Sure, they can play them out, but that'll buy us a bit of time. They snipe our Synthesizer, and that also cleans up the token copy as well. That's the kind of shenanigans I wanted the Negate for. That's a major setback we weren't prepared for. We draw into another Synthesizer, so all is well, that ends well. It would have been nice to have had the other 2 in play, though. They play their men out as expected before they send in their lad token for a hit. All fine and dandy as it was what we expected. Let's impulse at the end of their turn and hopefully find some ammo for the factory. Of the 4 cards, the 3 steps ahead is clearly the best one. We draw a land, which is fine. Now we can copy the Synthesizer and have mana up for Negate. There will not be another round of shenanigans this game. They go for a Lily, but we can't have her showing up and messing up our game. Get gone, girl. They send it, and we'll make a surprise factory. Another Robot Overlord will be cranked out of the production lines in time to battle the enemy. On top we have a Metamorph and another Aetherize. We'll draw the Metamorph first, as that will give us additional numbers on board. They snipe our Robot Overlord to protect their men. They're down to only one card now, though, and they won't have enough removals to stop all our men. The Robot Overlords are coming. They want opponent flesh. We've got the ground clogged up, but let's play out the Mockingbird and copy a Robot Overlord. We'll have a flyer on our side to clog the air as well. They snipe the Metamorph, but that is not as bad as it seems. We've still got enough on board that our men are able to throw a beating. That comes as a big surprise. They throw their men in anyways. I mean, sure, why not, right? We'll block up and take down nearly half their team. Hope those damages were worth it. All they've got left is one blocker. They have a Sheltered by Ghosts coming up. Their card choices have been good up until now. They are forced to block. They can't just take the hits. Damages, bro. Damages. This also leaves us open, but that's why we hung on to the Aetherize. And we know they've got an Aura as their next draw, so there won't be any additional blockers coming to save them. Oh, nice. They think they've got us. They even activate a land. What they should have done is kept that land as a blocker. Sure, the land gets its trigger, but that is only 2 life, and the Aetherize makes their men magically disappear. Their only guy left can't block, and even with our Mockingbird gone, we still have enough to crush them. Let's get in there. GG's, bro. This is Mad Hatter. No, wait, it's Mad Mare. A horse gone crazy? We open with a 1-lander. No need to even say it. We just can't keep this. Then we get a solid 3-lander with a synthesizer and a couple of ways to copy it. Keep. We'll send the replication on down. It's a late-game card that we can't take advantage of early. They play out a Golgari Surveil land and toss an Atraxa in the grave. Smells like eggy fart. No, wait, it smells like Reanimator. Our first draw is another synthesizer, so in essence we will be able to race them to the finish line. Whoever gets in for damages of 20 or more wins. Unfortunately, we didn't get any turn 2 plays, but we do have turns 3 and 4 covered. Bless their hearts. They're milling themselves away like a good mill reanimator should. Well done, bro. I'm impressed. Yawn. On top we have a land and an Aetherize. We definitely don't need more lands at the moment, but the Aetherize will be hilarious if we bounce all their hard work right back to their hand. More self-mill. I mean, By the time they're done, all we might have to do is hold off their men until they deck themselves. And they added Jace as well. What the heck is he gonna do?
Phyrexia showed me the truth. Flesh will always lose.
Oh right, I should have known.
Your victory. Surrender every last thought to Phyrexia.
I was thinking about going for an instant synthesizer at the end of their turn in case they have removals, but let's play out our second factory now. On top, we have a 3 steps ahead and a Mockingbird. Both could end up being very useful, but let's draw the 3 steps ahead first. Oh, here comes their big payoff. Let's see what they get. They pick a portal, which I think would be fine in most games, but here it only gets them 1 guy per turn. And I don't think there's anything in their grave that's so big we need to be afraid of it. Our first Robot Overlord goes to the big scrapyard in the sky, but there will be more coming soon enough. This turn, we'll go ahead and make an instant synthesizer at the end of their turn. We'll have to see what they dig up with the portal. That's a mighty beefy six beater you got there, bro. What are you planning on doing with that? Oh, now they mill us. Sure, bro. We're all for fun and games. We'll get a scry too at the end of their turn, so that's fine. All right, the time has come for a synthesizer copy. Fire up the factories. The production lines will run now until the end of the game. On top, we have another Aetherize and a Negate. We'll keep both, and in that order. Let's play out the Metamorph. Our team will get Swole, and we can send in the active pair of Robot Overlords. They want opponent flesh, bro. Better block up. Their 6/6 was only a road bump. Imagine playing big men and playing against an opponent that has bigger men. For their 1 guy per turn, they get an Aetherize. And the Aetherize gets them our synthesizer and a Jace. I don't know if they're keeping count of this at all or not, but they're gonna need more than a pair of blockers. A pair of undersized blockers, no less. Is there a plan to get more men on your side, bro? An Atraxa will gain them 7 life, so they are effectively at 25. That's a little bit better, but it still might not be enough. They actually mill us again. Nice try, bro, but it might be too late for any of that. Thanks for thinking of me. It's finally our turn and we go straight to the attack step. No need to bust out an abacus or some fancy calculator, we send all our men in. Does it look like a desperate move? I can tell you right now, we'll lose only one of our men in this exchange. To block up our walking synthesizer would be a fatal error. That's going to be 21 damages they'll be taking, which won't be enough thanks to the life gain from Atraxa. But that's why we've got this. Fire in the hole! Now that we've properly sized up our robot men, at 1414, that's big enough to get the job done. Smell you later, bro? And GG's. Extra cheese. And that, my friends, is another satisfied customer.